You're listening to the Joe Kamo Show. Real sports, real talk.
All right, guys, welcome to the show, the Joe Kamo Show here, also producing this on the Fantasy Football Counselor podcast. I'm going to be adding some extra treats to the show, including having MMA fighters on the show and any guests that I feel would be a great conversation or any topics I feel like talking about. So I'd like to introduce Adrian Yanez to the show again. What's happening, Adrian?
Man, going good, man. Thank you for having me on the show, man. It's always an honor.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you coming on. I had you on the show about a year ago. It was a good conversation. I'll probably link it here below here on YouTube. And it was a great talk. We talked a little bit about our dads and how we both lost our dads. It was just a good conversation. I wanted to kind of focus this episode a little bit more on your journey, kind of what's new. And again, correct me if I'm wrong. And I haven't been following the bantamweight division as much. I'm a little biased. I grew up, I did some MMA fighting as an amateur. So I fought at 170. So I used to grow up watching, you know, the Chuck Liddells at light heavy, and I watched the George St. Pierre's and the Matt Hughes at 170, and the Chuck Liddells at 205 or whatever it was. So I used to watch, like, you know, BJ Penn at 155. So I used to watch 155 and up. So, and I kind of follow your division with Sean O'Malley now, obviously you and some other great fighters there in that division. But I did get caught up. So correct me if I'm wrong here. You're on an 8-fight win streak, 4 of which are actually in the UFC. Am I correct?
Yes, and I also like to count that Dana White Contender Series as right. One as well. But for some reason, it's still under the Zuffa umbrella, but they don't count it as a UFC. You know, which is, I get it, but at the same time, like whenever they're going on the they're doing the knockout streak, I was like, no, I'm at 4 if you count my Dana White Contender Series, but no, they only counted at 3, so a little irky, but you know, it is what it is. But yes, 8-fight win streak, and actually, like, kind of thinking about that, like, that actually, like, I'm always taking everything at a fight at a time, so kind of like you saying 8-fight win streak was like, oh wow, it's like 8 fights already, damn.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, again, I don't want to toot my own horn here, but I'm really good at analyzing, just so people know my background, I'm really good at analyzing fights, and I could tell who would kind of win based on that fight. So I'm really good. I like your style. I think you're honed in, you're focused. So I was watching one of your fights here. I got to pull up the fight. I got to get caught up here. But I was watching one of your fights. Who was it here? Let me pull it up. It was against, I think it was Randy Costa. And round 1, he was kind of taking it to you, was he not? With his kicks and punches, and it looked like he had a reach advantage. And then you came back and just knocked him out.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I went into that fight knowing that this guy was going to come in super kick heavy. So, like, it wasn't really, like, it was not focused around him, like, throwing any type of punches. I didn't think he was going to throw a jab at all. I didn't even think the guy knew how to throw a jab, because, like, the fact that if you look back at all of his fights, most of his fights are ending in head kicks. He's throwing head kicks. There's one fight he literally threw, like, I think, like, about 2 punches, and everything else was kicks. So I was like, okay, so I have to be worrisome about that. So that's why, like, a lot of my head movement wasn't really even there, because I was so, like, dead set, so focused that he was going to try to land a head kick. And immediately right off the bat, from the jump of the fight, throws 2 head kicks. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then that's whenever he, like, started implementing the jab, started doing a lot of things. He started doing a lot of things differently that I had not seen, like, that he was capable of. And, like, it was kind of hard of adjustment, because I was like, well, I need to gather myself. And by the time I was taking my steps back, he was like, no, I'm taking my steps forward. I was like, I didn't really have much time in those first 2 minutes to really analyze anything that he was throwing at me, because everything was, like, weird. It was like, it wasn't just like his kicks came up, like, best way to explain it is like a baseball analogy is, like, it was like a changeup type of deal. Like, they came up slow, but then they finished fast.
I see what you mean.
Yeah, it was like real split second type of stuff. And it was like at the time I was like, I wasn't expecting this. And then the punches and bunches that he was going, the consistent jabbing, I was like, oh crap, he came differently. And then that's whenever I started having to switch up my style a little bit. Instead of me taking the back foot, I had to start pressuring, start punching with him, start doing a lot of things differently in the moment. And I started going to the body a little bit more. I started going, like, trying to limit his movement and try to make him stop coming forward. So I started throwing the oblique kick so I can make him start walking back, and make sure that if he took that step forward, he had the threat of the oblique kick or the calf kick coming in. and I threw a couple left hooks to the body. And then after that, like once I knew, whenever I started jabbing with him and I saw the little, there's something working here. And I just kept at it. And I just like the tide started turning slowly but surely. He did I think 3 minutes into that first round. After that 3 minute mark, that's whenever everything shifted and started changing, and everything that I was implementing and working on started working in my favor. And then after that, that's whenever I was like, okay, it's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time before I get him out of here.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like he kept the pressure on you. And I having a background in martial arts, I took Taekwondo. Some people have this ability to bring a kick up. It looks like it's going low. Then they bring it up and whip it across your head. So it's really it looked like he was throwing some elusive kicks type thing.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what it was. It was weird. It was definitely weird because I'd never seen that. I actually like my pro debut was against a black belt Taekwondo guy, and he was like supposedly, from what he told me after the fight, he was a national champion in it. And I was like, okay, well, like he was doing all the spinning stuff and all that stuff, but like the kicks were just hard. But with him, it was just like slow then fast. Like they just came out. It was like a whip. Like he
had good control over it, like a ball and chain.
Yeah, it was just it was just weird. And I just never seen that before at that time. And he did a really good job. He did a really good job mixing it up. And I started implementing a different game plan in mid fight, and then just started pouring it on him.
So I'm looking at the UFC rankings here. Are you not even in the top? Like, you're a 4-fight win streak. How are you not in the top 15? I'm looking at the UFC. Are you almost going to crack the top 15? Where are you right now?
Man, everywhere else has me at least, I think, in the top 25. Yeah. I don't think the UFC only does top 15. So if they were to put out a top 25, I should probably be in there. But then again, this division is so stacked. This division is absolutely so stacked. You got like Umar Nur. Dude, I can't say Khabib's little brother's last name. Like, well, his name too, but I don't want to screw it up. But you got like Umar, you got Said, same last name. I'm not gonna screw it up. And then you also got some people like Sean O'Malley. You got Ricky Simone. You have all these other guys. You got Brian Kelleher. You got Cody Stamann. You got a lot of these guys who are killers, and that deserve to be in the top 15. But the top 15 is so stacked that it's just kind of just like, oh well. Where are we going to put these guys? Well, it's the top 25. Make that list just a little bit bigger just so we know where we stand.
But I mean, like guys like Aldo and Edgar, like they're going to be like, I mean, they've been there for they're dinosaurs in this division. Like they're coming down. There's no way they're going to make another run. I don't see it personally. Like that's where you guys start phasing in, I think. Like,
oh yeah, that's where we start phasing in. I think on Frankie Edgar's end, because he's kind of on a losing streak right now. That this is his last ride, and Aldo, he's somehow just turning the clock and just like, man, going out there and putting people putting stamps on fights like Pedro Munoz and then the Rob Font. It's just been amazing to see how he's done that. So he deserves his spot. Frankie Edgar, if he's still ranked in the top 15, I'd kind of be a little bit surprised, because if he is, then I think he's been knocked out in his last 2 fights.
I see him at 11 right now, right? And then Sean O'Malley's number 12, and then Edgar. But and then you got this is a name you can't forget, Song Yadong. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I'm not, it's just.
Oh yeah. That's he definitely deserves that position to be in the top 15 for sure.
Apparently he's fighting, I think Marlon Moraes, I think soon. I think that's the fight coming up. I could be, again, I'm just getting caught up on the bantamweight here. So that should be interesting. And then I understand that Petr Yan and Sterling are going to have a rematch as well. I think April 9th or something like that?
Yes, April 9th.
That's going to be a crazy card. I want to see Khamzat fight. Is Khamzat the real deal, or what's going on with that guy?
It's kind of hard to it's actually kind of like really hard to like say, because he just kind of has been running through everybody. He hasn't met anybody that gives him a little bit of resistance and to make him like have to give that extra second gear. And I thought his last fight was gonna put him in that second gear, and he just kind of just trashed the guy. Like he picked him up, like ran him to the other side of the cage, talked to Dana, took him down and choked him out. And I'm just like, well, if anybody, nobody has ever done that to that guy. And the fact that like he did it in that type of fashion, and it was just like, I don't know, he might be.
He might be the real deal. I mean, I don't know, man. He looks scary to me, and I think Burns is a bad matchup. I think it's a bad matchup for Burns here. I really do. I think Khamzat could take it to him.
Yeah, and then also too, he also has the punching power to put somebody out. Like he went up to 185 and put out Gerald Meerschaert in like 18 seconds. So it's like kind of just like one of those that like you really in the grappling area, he's really, really good. And then also too, he has the power to put you to sleep. So like me looking at this, I'm just like, well, you know, he might be that guy. And not a great matchup for Burns, but I'm actually like kind of just like, wow, like Burns taking that fight, that's you know, that's really ballsy, you know. So to me, I give much props to Gilbert Burns for even taking that fight.
Yeah, man, he's up and coming. I see Khamzat here at number 11 in that division. Currently, Burns number 2, so he's really jumping up here, and that'll really push him up the ranking. That's a great division as well. And then just want to talk a little bit about the lightweight. Do you follow the lightweight division much?
I follow it, but at the same time, I wouldn't be able to tell you what order or anything like that that's in the top 5 and the top 10 and the top 15. But
we don't have to, but did you see the Islam fight recently?
We actually rewatched it not too long ago whenever I was in New York training with Aljo.
He beat Green pretty convincingly. He's watched that, right? He was supposed to fight Beneil Dariush, my friend, and then he ends up, you know, beating Green. Green stepped up on that fight kind of like last minute. But here's the thing with Islam, right? He gets on top of you, he outpowers you, chokes you, and beats the crap out of you. Like, so here's my mentality, because this is something that I've been going through my head a lot. And same with Habib, right? When he was in that division. Like, can't you guys train with people that are like 4 times their size and get out of that? I mean, I understand these guys are strong, you're in the same division, and sometimes their body technique, it just holds you down. Like, I've grappled people that are superior to me, and no matter what I did, I couldn't beat them. What is this ability that the guys like Islam have to keep you on the ground? And can't you guys just find a way to, you know, train against this? Because nobody seems to solve this.
It's a lot, and also it comes down to the actual technique and actual like placement of where you're at. Because like I've noticed you can have like 2 people the same skill set, but if like even with a little bit of a size difference, like the person who's doing the right and the small little adjustments, little adjustments. It can be like the positioning of the head can be like, no, not on the left side, not on this left shoulder, but on the right shoulder. That's the difference of like keeping somebody down. Or instead of like, okay, well, instead of grabbing your grip, instead of having an S grip or a gable grip, you know, go ahead and just grab your own wrist and make that a little bit tighter and all that stuff. Like, man, like there's small little details, small details that make people pay. And then in a fight, man, like you get a little pop in your face, you'll give a little bit up because you don't want to stop getting popped in your face. And the next you know, like they make that adjustment to even make sure that you stay down. And then also
to watch. That's all. Like, I mean, it's hard to interrupt. Like, because again, like if you know that Islam is just going to take you down, he takes you down fast, right? Takes you down. And so what I would do is I would watch a tape on how is it a single leg, is it a double leg? How does he approach? Does he set it up with a jab? What does he do? Okay, he's in now. Okay, he's got me. I would theoretically now do that. If I have 6 months to train for this, I would get a guy who's 4 times the size and 4 times the strength of him and have him do that to me every single day. And I would just hammer that, and I don't care. That's all I would do.
But here's also the kicker to that as well. That's also a way to think about it as well. Like, man, just get a bigger person. You got to work on getting up. Yeah. But also, what I've also come to realize within this past year is working with a lot of these wrestlers that I've been working with. Man, you can defend that single leg. You can defend that double. Yeah. Like the single to the double and all that stuff. But like, yeah, if they chain it together, if they just go 1, 2, yeah, you can defend that all day. But whenever they start going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and they get you on number 6, like they'll catch the slip by the time that 6 chain of the wrestle comes in. I was like, yeah, you can defend that single, double to the high crotch. Oh, they got the body lock. Okay, I defend this. And next you know, while you're defending the body lock, they go back down to the double and take you down. So it's just like in the combination punching, like whenever you're throwing like a 6 punch combination, it's like, yeah, 1, 2, 3 might not land, but that 4 and 5 are gonna land. You know, it's like that's and that's also kind of like correlating it back to the wrestling. It's like, okay, I might not get this single leg, I might not get that double leg, but he pulls me up for that, pulls me up off the double, and I have my body lock. He starts defending the body lock. Okay, I drop back down to the double because he already has his legs too close, and just bro, like it's
hard.
I've been like it's super tough, especially like since I've been working with high level wrestlers as of late. Like that's what I'm starting to see. I'm like, oh well, it's not just the it's not the first takedown attempt, not the second takedown attempt. It's like the fourth and fifth, sixth, seventh, man. Because you can defend all day, but since they've been doing it like consistently for years, it's kind of like it's second nature for them to get you down anyways.
And that's fine. So once they're taking you down, now you're in this state. So now I would train once I'm in this state. It's like a chess match. Okay, he's made a move here. Now I'm in this position. Now I got to trade against this a bazillion times, right? Like it's
it's and then that goes into what kind of almost the same thing. It goes into the same thing with jiu-jitsu. It's like, man, they drill it so much. Like, man, like there's people that drill jiu-jitsu so much and like sambo so much that like it's second nature for them to do all these things. Like for me, it's super like it's super basic. Oh, you throw a jab, I'm coming. Slip two, like it's like it's almost second nature to me. Boom, boom, or jab. Like me to throw a jab or me to throw like a 4-punch combination. It's super simple. Like I drill it so much that just kind of just like it's second nature. It's like, okay, I don't even need to think about it. Like I need to move. Yeah. So it's like there's a lot of things that like when it comes to jiu-jitsu and the wrestling and all that other aspects of grappling, it's second nature for a lot of these guys. And you can tell that they drill those particular spots like 100 times a day, like because
muscle memory and
it's just one of those things. And that's why also like I would have loved to have seen that fight with Beneil Dariush and Islam, because I don't think
slick jiu-jitsu though. But the thing is, if you outpowered him on the ground, I've thought about that match in my head. I was like, being a friend of Beneil, I was a little concerned, but I mean, a lot of people were, and it's like almost like I'm glad he kind of watched this fight to kind of know that, okay, he's going to lay on me. He's going to try to overpower me again. He's got more tape now to work with.
I think I honestly think that fight, it actually kind of gets contested on the feet because I think Islam's like, no, I think Beneil Dariush's ground game is like super underrated because like, man, he, I know he beat Tony Ferguson, but it was just like the way he did it was just like, oh, he neutralized everything.
Yeah,
you know, and that's kind of hard to do on someone like Tony Ferguson. So it's just kind of me just watching. I'm just like, well, this fight is a super more interesting to me, and I'm just like, I need to see that. And I'm kind of glad that fight actually, it looks like it actually might happen because of the whole like Islam, like the past couple of weeks, like Dana White doesn't want to give him the title shot after this. So it's like kind of like, all right, cool.
Yeah, I just hope they don't stick Beneil with like Chandler, who I think he lost a couple of his last fights or something like that. I hope he actually goes for Islam, and then one of those guys gets a title shot against Oliveira and whoever the winner of that is, right?
Dude, so, I would actually be 100% okay with Beneil just getting the shot, like himself. Like I 100% would be okay with that.
Yeah, he's done a lot.
He's 8 fight, like it's like 8-9 fight win streak in the UFC right now. So like that's unheard of right now.
Yeah. Yeah, he's really grinded his way to the top, like literally grinded his way to the top. And then where some other fighters, you know, like say popular names might get a shot a little bit earlier. So it happens. I mean, sometimes it is about the money, and I totally understand that, right? It's about ratings, money, seats, you know, seats in the stadium type thing too, right? So so I'm looking at the divisions here again. So what is your goal here? So I'm looking at your division. So if you got Aljamain, Sterling, I've watched his fights. We'll talk about him in a second. But like, what is your goal? Like, I think, did you like call out Sean O'Malley, or was there some sort of talk about you against Sean O'Malley? And I want to talk about his style real quickly. Like, what is do you have another fight set, or what's the goal right now?
The goal right now, honestly, I just been waiting to hear back from the UFC. I was like, pretty much like every single time I get in the getting at this moment, I don't have a fight lined up. I've been trying to have a fight lined up for the past like 5 weeks, 5-6 weeks. So it's like, it's kind of, I'm like a little annoyed because I'm just like, well, if I'm not fighting, I'm not making money. So it's like, hey, like I need a fight, but
it's coming for sure.
Yeah, but because I've been looking for like mid-May, end of May type of deal, and because I for sure need I want 8 weeks for sure. To get ready, and I just want to make sure that like everything is kind of set, like because I'm a guy that likes to schedule. I love my schedule. I love to set a schedule and stick to a schedule, and But
foundation's definitely there. So you keep on top of the training, keep on top of the conditioning, keep on top of everything, so that when the fight is announced, then you kick it up a little bit, or how does that work? Or are you always kicking it up?
yeah, I tend to, like, and I'm actually like starting to because after hanging out with Aljo and like talking to him, he's been consistently training and all that stuff, but like I've been taking a lot of tips like from him, and just like because he's been in it for so much longer, and just be like he's like, yeah, I wish I would have done this differently, and like taking tips from all these other fighters, like, and being like, okay, continue to train, but there's also the times where you just, hey, look, take a step back. You don't have to go so hard in training. You can work on technique. You can do this. You can do that. So like that's in the mode that I've been in as of late. I've been training, but I haven't been training like hard for a fight. I've been working. I've been like drilling, making sure that a lot of these other guys are still getting in work for themselves as well. So for me, it's still been in the gym 100%, but like the intensity of me like going into a fight, like, or fighting going into and like having to prep for a fight hasn't been there. It's just been like, no, I'm staying in shape. I want to get ready. I want to make sure that my technique is there. So man, yeah, a fight, hopefully a fight's brewing.
So I don't think it'd be O'Malley. I think they're going to feed O'Malley a top rank guy, like a higher rank guy, right? I would guess like they wouldn't feed him someone outside the top 15, right? I don't know what your prediction is on that.
He had expressed that he wanted to fight me, but I think he's changed his tune a little bit, because now I feel like he's changed his tune to fight more like Pedro Munoz, and I think that's the word around the water cooler, but I'm not 100% sure. And I can see why he would rather go to Pedro Munoz, because it's a good favorable matchup. It's like Pedro Munoz is not going to try to, even though he does have the jiu-jitsu, the ground game and everything, he's just not going to shoot. He likes I feel like he fell in love with striking, knocking people out. And a lot of jiu-jitsu guys, a lot of wrestlers end up falling in love with that. And then it kind of they kind of just like, I want to knock everybody out, because also the extra money that you get whenever you get the bonus always feels good too. So I think Pedro would love that fight anyways, because it's also Sean O'Malley, who's also going to make you get a pay raise no matter what, because
exactly
the eyes are there. Yeah, the eyes are there. Everybody's going to want to see that fight anyways.
Right. And I watched his style, man, and I don't know if it's like arrogance or just his style, hands down, looking for the knock. I mean, I'm sure he's got heavy hands, especially for that weight, but hands down, a little bit elusive, kind of makes it look easy. But I think if you just keep the pressure on him with proper technique, he's going to get himself into some trouble. What do you think of his style? Hands down, stick, jab, move. Is that just him being arrogant, or is that just his style? What do you think here?
I think that is just kind of his style, and it's also kind of plays. I feel like his style kind of plays into who he is, anyways. So it's like, his style. I think he wants to draw you in a weird sense, like in a weird like overall look of sense. His style is meant to draw you in, and then he does the whole like show. He wants you to bring you in, then make like pop you. Like, let's just say he want like in his fight with Eddie Weinley, he was trying to draw Eddie Weinley in. Then the whole entire time he saw the opening, took the shot, boom, bright lights, showtime, that type of deal. He's knocked him out. It's a show, and I feel like that's what he's trying to bring all the time. And I think that's his kind of like, I guess you could kind of say how his style is. Like, he wants to bring you in, and then wants you to make the mistake and capitalize on top of that. Going forward, he does do a good job, like especially with his not his last fight, but the fight whenever he fought that last second dude, Chris Moutinho.
Yeah, Chris Moutinho. Yeah,
whenever he fought him, he did a good job of keeping the hands in his face, but there's always a little something. There's always a little something that like every fighter is always trying to look at, and always trying to see what would they do if they were in that position? What would they do if they were this and all that? But I don't know. Like I know Sean O'Malley's kind of had like the easier pick'em fights. Like he had Eddie Wineland, and then also after that he had Thomas Almeida, and then after that he goes and gets that Chris Moutinho guy, which pretty much he gets him last. It is a last second fight, but I feel like if you get a guy that's last second, you're supposed to do to him, what you do to him. You're supposed to put him out in the first round, but
right.
It went into the third, but also he did like do a career high with strikes landed and all that stuff. So no knock on that. But also but also, you know, I don't know. I just feel like I see something. And also, he picked the right stylistic fight whenever Raulian Paiva was he was ranked at number 15. And I always felt like he was the easiest guy in the top 15 at that moment. And he picked that guy. So now it's kind of just like he was kind of, I don't know. It was super favorable. I think all of his last 4 fights, they were Super Bowl favorable matchups, you know, for him, you know. But, you know, it is what it is. You know, he's going out there, he's going to make his money. And honestly, like whoever he fights is the other guy's going to make a ton of money too. Well, hopefully more money if they got the right manager and if they actually push for it.
Now, are you looking at the top right now? Do you look at like Aljamain, Sterling and be like, okay, yeah, that's the guy? Or are you just really honed in and focused one guy at a time, working your way up? Or are you constantly kind of looking at the top of the mountain?
I do a little bit of both. What I tend to do is I always look at the guy in front of me, but I'm also looking at the skill set at the people up top. You know, if you always want, that's because you always want to make sure that you're working on something, you know, and especially like it's like me training with Aljo these past, like one of these last week or a couple weeks ago, depending on when this comes out, like, man, is like just working with him like opens up my eyes a lot to a lot of things. And also in the sense that guy is just a phenomenal wrestler and a phenomenal grappler that just kind of just like, you know, he's the elite. He's the elite of the elite when it comes to the grappling area of MMA and all that stuff. It kind of gave me an extra sense of like, oh, well, my striking is already up there. I just need to bring all this other stuff with me. I need to bring this up to par with my striking. So, you know, and then whenever I get a fight, then I look at the guy in front of me. I'm like, okay, because right now I'm in the sense of like just getting better. So I look at the top guys. What do I need to do to help bring my game up to that level? Then whenever I get a fight, that's when I'll start looking at that for one fight and just sit there and just look, be strategic about it, and then after that, you know, just revolve my game around what they're gonna do.
Yeah, I've watched a couple Sterling's fights. He's very aggressive, keeps the pressure on, mixes it up. He's got good reach, got good takedown. You know, he's going to be hard to dethrone. I think all these champions, I mean, they're a champion for a reason. Like Israel Adesanya, like how do you beat him? He's just so technical, man. He's just a magician out there. Like it's hard to beat that guy. Like he doesn't even let you get near him. If you take him down, he springs back up. Like Adesanya, like it's just some of these guys. You wonder how they're going to be dethroned. It's going to be tough.
Yeah, and see, in a great and you just said Israel Adesanya. That's exactly what I'm trying to do. His striking by itself is just so amazing. It's so fluid, and he makes it look so easy to the point where his grappling is starting to catch up. Like, man, like nobody's been able to, like, other than Jan Blachowicz, you know, that's the guy that took him down, but up 20 pounds from his natural weight class. So it's like once you got somebody like Robert Whittaker, who is also like a really great wrestler himself, took him down, popped right back up. Was easy. Like he defended shots. He's been defending shots, and he's been making it look easy. And it's just like, man, he's like, bro, he's down, up immediately, and that's exactly how I'm trying to get. You know, so that's a great great person to look at whenever you're looking to get better.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you some tough questions here. I don't know if they're tough, but some questions here about the UFC in general and some fighters. So, who, in your opinion, is the most dominant champion right now? I'm testing you a little bit. You don't have to answer. I'm just curious. Like, who do you think is like so on top of their game, whether it be the female division, male division, that like, oh man, it's going to take a mountain and some more to take this person out? Like who? I think Adesanya is up there just from a technical standpoint, but I just wanted to hear your opinion. Who is really like solidified their spot? It's going to be a like really tough to take them out.
It just, and also kind of just looking at the actual divisions itself.
Yeah.
I would have to say it is, man, you know, that is kind of hard right now because
you've got Usman right at welterweight, Adesanya at middle.
Yeah,
Oliveira, I think, is beatable. I think Islam Benil, one of those guys will push him. I think he's dethronable. Nagano is pretty amazing. But a knockout punch changes that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I'm also kind of thinking of. I'm also trying to think of who's in their divisions because also too, like I think of Usman 100%. Like I'm like, oh no, that guy just like pretty much just trashed everybody and trashed everybody that he's come across. But also the outlier right now is Khamzat. You don't know how far he's going to go. So that's kind of just like, all right, cool. Well, depending on how good Khamzat is, that might be a chance to dethrone Usman. Then also at the same time, I'm looking at the 185 and I'm like, who really there can dethrone Izzy? And I'm just, all right, cool. He's one of those guys. Okay, so I'll put him there. But then I think of Francis Ngannou, like, okay, well, who's gonna take that battle right there? I was like, because I think all the improvements that Ngannou's done, he's gonna be super hard to take out. I was like,
How about Covington again? I mean, his wrestling looked good, but he was fighting Jorge, so it wasn't like, he wasn't fighting Usman, but he looked strong. But I don't know if he could take Usman again.
I personally don't think he could. He beats Usman, but he made those last 2 rounds in their last fight really interesting. So I wouldn't be surprised if he got that much better. But I felt Usman is just one of those guys who sees a problem and wants to make sure he solves it. I feel like he wants to make sure oh, well, I was getting hit with this jab. I hit with this jab so much. I don't want this anymore. And next thing you know, he just starts working on that, and now he got the best jab. He dropped Burns with the jab, So I think he's like, all right, cool. I'm gonna start working on my hands, and then next thing you know, he knocks out Jorge Masvidal. Man, he does things that make sure that he wants to improve. And I think with him watching Colby Covington fight, he's like, yeah, I know I'm probably gonna have to fight this guy, so I'm gonna need to be better. And also too, he's about to fight. I think his next fight is Leon Edwards, and we kind of forget about Leon Edwards.
Yeah, he's good.
That's also kind of a hard fight to be like, oh shit, does he beat Kamaru Usman? So that's why another reason why I feel like out of the 3, because I think it's Izzy, Francis, and then it's Usman. Everybody else, I like this. They're not
they're beatable. Like Glover Teixeira, like light heavyweight. I mean, no offense, but he's a little older now. I think guys like Jamal Hill are coming up that could dethrone him. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, no, 100%. Man,
young and hungry.
The power of Hill would definitely put out Glover. So it's kind of one of those things for me that is like, yeah, that's why I wasn't thinking about Glover. Age is also a factor. 145. Oh man, I didn't even think about Alexander Volkanovski. He's a tough fight too. He beat Max Holloway twice, which everybody was on the road of saying that Max was one of the greatest featherweights of all time. So goes out there, beats him twice, even though the second one was kind of shaky. But
so if you had to choose, let's make a decision together. Who is the most dominant UFC champion right now? We talked about Usman, Adesanya, Ngannou. If we had to choose one, who is the most difficult one to dethrone right now, in your opinion, Adrian?
The most difficult one to dethrone.
Let's choose one. You can only choose one.
Just choose one. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and just keep it super easy. I'm gonna say Francis Ngannou just because of the power, man. The power, it's scary. And I remember whenever I was watching him versus Gane, I was like Gane fought. He was like, I don't want to get hit by this, and was just on his back foot the entire time, throwing the kicks, doing all this other stuff. But yeah.
But he's one punch, with that heavyweight, just one heavy hand away from losing that belt. Whereas Adesanya, he is just so hard to beat. I'm going to go with Adesanya because he is he's a tough puzzle, man. I mean, it's hard to beat him. He's just a technician. It's when you get in close, you can't do much, man. He keeps you away, keeps his distance. He's a technician. But both those guys, I think, either way, they're going to be hard to take out.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And also if we're also gonna kind of just talk into the how dominant they've been is continue to finish. When Usman got his belt, he wasn't finishing anybody, but now he's starting to get rack up these finishes after he's picked up his belt.
The foot stomping is ending now.
There's no foot stomping. It's no, you're sleeping now. And Israel Adesanya, whenever he got his belt, he was knocking everybody out. He was putting definitive statements, and now I feel like it's a little bit more decision on decision now. But but also too, that might just be recency bias from me because being live at his last fight. So that was I think it was Rob. I think he went the distance with Rob, and I can't remember his fight before. Yeah, I don't remember his fight before.
Okay, I got one for you here. So Sterling and Jan are fighting April 9th on that stacked card where Khamzat is fighting on. So who do you got here? Does Sterling win this one again?
Oh man, I think he wins it. I think he wins it. I know there was a lot of controversy with the way he got the belt, but uh
Illegal disqualification. By the way, if you don't know, guys, I think it was March 6th. I'm getting caught up here. March 6th, 2021, disqualification, illegal knee. And then Jan lost with that illegal knee. I think I remember watching that one.
yeah. Jan threw the knee. Sterling was on his knees and pretty much threw the knee, got kneed in the face. Illegal in MMA. Illegal in MMA. Depends on it also depends on the rule set because I can't remember if he was just on 3 points of contact. I think in the state of Nevada and Texas and all that other stuff, is that if you have 3 points of contact, which is the hand in both feet, or just like anything that's not like your feet that's also on the ground, is considered 3 points of contact. And he was on a knee on both of his feet, and he got kneed in the face. And it is what it is. Couldn't continue. That no getting kneed in the face by Jan is not healthy for you. So yeah, but I do think he gets it done, man. After training with him and just seeing like the little stuff, because I trained with him when he was getting ready for that Jan fight, for the Jan fight before he got pulled for that second back in September, October. And I trained with him just a couple weeks, just last week, just came back last week with Sterling, and I felt the complete difference. And I'm just like, I don't know. Like I think he gets it done, and I feel like if he gets Jan's back, he's choking Jan out.
That's it. I want to talk about a couple more things, and there's a fun little segment I want to do here, talk about some old school UFC. But I want to talk about your ear, because I think it was your last fight, your ear absolutely exploded. And then I saw some videos of you putting a magnet in there. Is this true? And what does the magnet do? And how's ear now? Like all these ear questions.
Oh yeah, no, the ear did blow up, and it took like about at least like 4 weeks. I talked to Darren. Darren Wynn actually messaged me and was like, bro, magnets, like drain it, then put magnets. I gotten cauliflower ear before, but it just was just so much. It hurt just so much. So I was already putting magnets on it, and I didn't know that that I couldn't even train or do too much, because any blood flow would make just automatically start the ear start filling back up with blood and liquid and all that stuff. And I just couldn't do anything. And next thing you know, finally, after 4 weeks, because I actually went to train after the 2-week mark, I was like, yeah, I need to train. Someone grabbed my ear, grabbed the back of my head and slid. And whenever I pulled their hand down, it slid down my ear.
Yeah.
Re-blew my ear back up. I was like, oh my goodness, man. And I had it just where I wanted it to, because at the moment it didn't have at that moment it wasn't covering up my ear hole for me to hear. But now it's it's better, and it's now solidified, so I can I still have the space for the ear, but the ear is
it looks good now. It looks like a normal ear almost.
It looks good. Yeah, it looks good. But the main thing that I was worried about is that this little part right here was covered. The second time I refilled back up, it was covering my ear, the hole, the ear hole, so I wouldn't be able to hear anything. See, and that's the part that I was worried about. I'm never gonna be able to wear AirPods again, but this one, I got cauliflower ear too. This one, I got it up here, but this little area is perfect.
I felt those years because I took grappling for years, so I was fortunate never to have it. I don't know. Maybe I didn't wrestle enough. I did a lot of jujitsu, no gi and stuff, but I never ended up getting this for some reason. But can't they just drain it and just be done with it? Or it's just so hard. It's like a callus, right?
No, after a while, if you because the blood will solidify in your ear, and then that's whenever you start getting that hard ear. And we do drain it, and whenever every single time you drain it, your skin expands and then coming back up. That's why this one looks so wrinkly, is because of the extra little skin. And then on top of that, the blood that's all wasn't able to come out is still in there, and it kind of clumps up and everything, so it starts looking nasty.
Wow.
But yeah, no, the magnets were to help keep it from not refilling back up and everything, and that was a little bit painful, man, because after a while, for a couple minutes you're good, you're like, all right, cool, and then that hour hits, and next you know you're just like, oh fuck, I want to get irritating.
I always preach lion mentality. Where's the camera there? I always preach lion mentality. It's like just this is some of the growing pains you got to do to leave the legacy. You know, like you feel like you're born for this. It's going to help you solidify your legacy, and nothing that is going to help you succeed is going to be easy. That's what I've learned. Everything that I've worked for is a struggle, man. It's just like grinding my teeth, you know, trying to succeed. It's not easy.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man.
Yeah,
It
it's
is.
easy.
It
Everyone
is.
do it.
Yeah, it's that, and that's exactly how I feel like my career has been. Like me even getting to the UFC, like it took a lot of hard work and it took a lot of sacrifice, and it was just like a lot of times just putting your head down and just continue to grind. Even whenever I took those losses, I kept coming back and kept coming back. And man, I tell I tell my training partners all the time, like, bro, like you think you have it hard now, like just wait until you actually hit a friction spot in the actual fight, and then you actually start having to work a little bit
Find
harder.
another
It's like it's
gear.
hard.
Find
Yeah,
another gear.
you have to find that. You have to get into that other gear, and if you never do, you're never going to see where you can grow.
Did we talk about that book by David Goggins? Can't Hurt Me. Have you read that yet?
No, I haven't read that yet.
You gotta read it. Just do it before your next fight, please. Like it's just like talking about taking the other person's soul and finding that other level. It's just awesome for your mentality. Changed my way of thinking, man.
And yeah, and
must listen to.
I definitely got to listen to that, because like I've definitely had those moments in my career where I had everybody telling me not to do it, but I still did it. And if I would have listened to those guys or people, you know, I wouldn't be in the position I am today. You know, like living my dream, going out here and like pursuing, you know, just off of fighting. Me working a regular day job, I was never in a position to buy a house.
Right.
Fighting, me making the money that I'm making now, I'm able to buy a house. I'm able to like take my dollar and invest it, do a lot of these other things instead of just kind of just living in the rat race of just barely making it, living in an apartment, you know, and doing that stuff. Now, like, I'm like, oh, I got a house. Like I have something that like I can call my own. Now I can put equity in this. Now I can like actually start using this. And then let's just say invest into a lot of things, so I can invest in myself and invest in life, so I can have a better lifestyle, provide a better lifestyle for my kid. And then just, I don't know, it's put me in a different in a different mindset just with everything itself, man. Because man, this life, man, if you kind of just blow it away, you know, it's that's on you. But there's always going to be those people that blow it away but also want to try to bring you down. So you got to work past it. You got to work through it every single time. And if I would have listened to a couple of those guys that be like, there's no money in this, like do this, like why don't you just get a regular day job? Like, hey, the message to those guys, fuck you.
Exactly. Let's talk about the haters here first and foremost, because when we first started this conversation, I'm like, oh, you're out of the top 15. You're not ranked the top 15. It like, even if you're top 100, we're talking like the entire planet at that weight. Like it's such a huge accomplishment to hit even making the UFC, forget even top anything. Making the UFC is accomplishment on their own. But I find that, you know, as I got older, right, and I started to get wiser and my brain started blowing up, my vision got bigger, my circle got smaller of friends, because there's a lot of people that mentally I can't associate with. And I'm not trying to say that I'm better than them. It's not about that. It's just about like they're not on the same frequency level as I am. So I wanted to ask you, as you keep rising to the top, do you find that your circle of friends is getting a little smaller, a little tighter? You're kind of filtering people out. Is this happening compared to where you were, let's say, 5 years ago?
No, I absolutely have a smaller circle now. Like I have a smaller circle, but I talk to a lot more people now. I do talk to a lot more people. That's been my thing. Like I've always had like not the biggest circle, but like my circle of friends have stayed my circle of friends, and I have added a couple people here. But instead of like 5 years ago where it was big, everybody was a part of it. Now it's like kind of just circled down to a little bit. Like even to my training partners that I talk to on a very daily basis, there's only like a couple of them that I talk to because you know, not everybody's there to help everybody. And then like the guys that I talk to are there to help everybody, you know? So I'm like, all right, cool. So there's also that point. And also even just with my friends, you know, there's a couple people that I kind of don't go out my way to talk to because like, hey, look, like it's not that I don't love them or anything like that, but there's just on a different, like, it's like you said, different frequency. Like I'm here, like I can't, like, most of my weekdays at nights, I can't go out. I can't go out at night with anybody. Like Monday through Friday, like I'm at the gym. Like
Absolutely.
I'm at the gym. By the time they're getting out of work, I'm going into the gym. And like they just say it's Thirsty Thursday and they want to have a beer. I'm like, I can't. Yeah. I gotta go to the gym.
Because your competitor isn't. Your competitor is edging. Maybe you're out there and your competitor's at the edge learning a new technique or something like that.
Yeah, and so you gotta keep yourself going. And then even back, I can draw back as far as like me just graduating high school. Like I remember I was like, I want to do this, and like my friends were getting upset that I was like not hanging out with them. Well, as so-called friends, they were getting mad that I wasn't hanging out with them. They're like, I'm changing. I'm like, no, I just know what I want to do, and I'm training my ass off because I have a dream, I have aspirations, and I want to follow this. And you know, like a lot of people will say they're for you, but then they're just talking shit behind your back. So it's like as much as you want to hang out and be friends with a lot of those guys, just change up just a little bit and like start following what you want to do, and you'll kind of see who your real friends are, because the people that are still around me have been true friends through and through. They bought tickets to every single one of my fights. They bought shirts, like in the regional, like especially in the regional shows, you get nothing out of it. Like most like you just showed support. You spent 30, like at the time it was 30. Now it's like 50, $60 a ticket now. And that's outrageous. Inflation is shit.
But that's a whole other topic. Yeah.
It's a whole other topic. But yeah, like $30 go out their way, and then they buy a $20 shirt for you and everything. So they just spent $50 on you. And let's just say they have family. So they want to bring their girlfriend, they want to bring their boyfriend, they want to bring their kid or a friend or anything like that. Some of these people are spending up to $200 just to come and support you on one night. And the people that kept consistently doing that, you know that they were there for you in the very beginning. Because there was times after a fight where, like, whenever I fought in Bellator in Houston, I noticed the difference in my ticket sales. Like I noticed they're like, oh, Bellator, you're fighting on the Shamrock Gracie card. And I sold over 200 tickets, like way over 200 tickets.
Yeah.
My next fight, 60.
Right.
It was a significant drop. Like I remember that. And I keep going back to that because I'm like, you know, people only want to be a part of the success.
When whenever like there.
Yeah, whenever there's something for them to gain, they're there. Like, or like they want to be like, oh, my friend is this or my friend is that. And like now, like I'm in the UFC. A lot of these people I never talked to in high school are just like, I went to school with that guy. Like we're so cool. We're so friends. Like I never said anything to you, man. But like,
it's always like that.
But that's always
try to ride the train.
Yeah, but that's always big basis too. And like now, like I have the same group of friends that will still talk shit to me. Like they like, and I love it too because like, hey, I need that. Like I don't want to get too big in my head. Like if I go around, they're like, hey, what's up, man? How you doing? And we'll talk about it and just have talks about regular things, and we'll still talk shit to each other. We'll still like make fun of each other, and I love that. Like I don't want anybody to treat me like I'm big enough. I personally find it weird for me because I don't know how to handle it when someone comes up to me and is like, dude, like, oh my god, Adrian Yanez. Like I did a meet and greet with Kevin Holland whenever UFC came to UFC Houston,
right,
and I was just like, I don't think not too many people want to come and see me, and then like the line was just like, we spent a whole hour and a half like just talking to people coming in his meeting, like, and the fact that a lot of these people were just like knew who I was, and like a couple people even gifted me Dr. Peppers and all that stuff. Like they're like, yeah, like they knew about me. So I was like, damn, like I felt weirded out just like because I don't know how to express like, hey, like I didn't know how to express like the gratitude of like, man, thank you like for the support and all that stuff. So I find it weird. So being able to go back to friends, like my core 3 friends, like my, you know, and one of them is my brother, and one of them is my brother. So it's my brother, and then the other 2 guys, they're friends, but I call them brothers too. So.
No, that's really good. And you're going to see that as you keep rising up. I've actually studied this. So I watch UFC a lot, like pretty much every Saturday. And then if there's a fighter, let's say they're unranked or whatever, as soon as they win or as soon as they make it on the air, as soon as the pay-per-view airs, I go to their social media and you'll start seeing them go from like 10,000 followers to 20,000, like just because of that event. So people just ride the train. And I do fantasy football, right? So I try to find those underdog fantasy value plays that people draft in later rounds that are the underdog. And then as soon as they do well, everyone rides that train. But I'm all about finding the talent here and knowing that they're going to rise here and jumping on the train before it takes off. That's how fantasy football works. And everybody's so on top of the train, all these analysts. And that's where I differ with my analysis, right? And it's like with fighters like yourself, people may not know you as like they know a champion or a top 3 guy. But as soon as those wins start stringing together, it's like, oh, now they love you all of a sudden. It's crazy.
Yeah, and but also at the same time, that's also pretty cool. And like you're the guy that like knew they were something before they were something, and it's always been pretty cool because like even to this day, like I have people who like that I don't know personally. I just know them through social media who watch me fight through like LFA. Like they watched my fights in LFA, and then the fact that like they were just like, dude, this is so crazy. I remember you fighting in LFA, and like now you're in the UFC. I always knew that. Like I knew you were gonna be that guy, and that to me is like super cool. Is like, man, like there's a guy named I'll name drop him. You know, his name is Joey Procell. Procell.
Yeah,
he's been rocking with me since my one of my I think it was after my loss. I think it was after a loss. And he was like, oh, nah, man, you did good. Like, hey, like you got a fan in me. I love the way you fought. And he's after that, like, he's been with me. He's been like been a fan of me and everything. So I was like, and we talk a little bit through social medias and everything. And he's done a few nice things and like the one nice thing that that comes to the front of my head is that the UFC did a little V Foundation for me in 2020 they did a segment on me like about the story about my dad and cancer and everything, and they put it out and they're like, if you want to donate, you can donate for a certain person, and Joey actually went out of his way to donate in the honor of my father, and I thought that was so cool. So like,
right.
I never met the guy, but he's been rocking with me so like since way back, like in LFA days, that he's still rocking with me here in the UFC. So seeing that is pretty cool, and being able to like see the diamond in the rough, and then whenever you get to like clean up and polish the diamond, being able to see it like as a full-on diamond, just being able to see it, like all the hard work that went into that, like it's so cool. It's super cool to me.
I'm excited to see you climb the rankings, and I can't wait to hear about your next fight. And I'll definitely be ordering some chicken wings and watching it. Like I treat myself, like I try to work out. I'm not obviously on UFC level, but I have one of those speed bags, those Cobra Flex bags, and I'm actually, my hands are pretty good. So I block, I hit, and I'm just boom. Like I actually feel my hands are good. Like I don't want to say my age. I'd rather not talk about it, but I'm getting up there, and it's like I feel like my hands are like concrete now. Like I'm stronger and I'm faster than I ever was, because all I'm doing is just boxing in my basement, right? Like it just feels good to have that workout. It's one of those workouts I don't get bored with. So when I watch UFC, I tend to order some chicken wings on that night, but I'm trying to limit my sugar. Your metabolism takes a dump after you hit like you're past your 30s. It's like, it's not the same, man. Like I used to be able to eat more of what I want, but now it's kind of shitty. So, again, I'm not trying to get to, UFC level. I don't think I'll never get there. But what I'm trying to do is like, sometimes I call out NFL players, like top running backs, and then they get pissed because I say they had a sucky game. I say, you suck. And so they come onto my social media and they want to fight, like Josh Jacobs from the Vegas Raiders. I've had it out with Le'Veon Bell. I don't know if you heard of Le'Veon Bell. He played for the Steelers. He's now kind of on his down part of his career. Like top NFL running backs come at me. And I said, hey, man, let's box. Like, I fear no man. And I'm making a transition here real quick here to something that's fun before we end this off. I literally fear no man. Like, if you just give me, like, I'm not going to fight, to share or stuff. But if you gave me enough training and we kind of met at the same weight class, I'm just going to step in there. If I lose, I lose. But I'm just going to give it my all, right? And couple of things before I get into, I want to talk about UFC one more thing, but I want to go off on a tangent fighting styles. So I'm looking to move to the States. I'm looking to move to Florida. I'm in the Northeast right now, Buffalo, Toronto area. I won't talk about that too much. I'm in the North cold, but I'm looking to move to Florida. I'm almost there. Like I'm a month away. And one thing I want to get into when I get down there is Krav Maga, because I feel in my mind, if I were to fight you, if I trained like for 3 years at Krav Maga, like lethal Israeli type, hit hard with soft, like crack you in the balls, I've got some sort of chance. Adrian Yanez in a fight, right? But if I fight UFC, that I have no like MMA style, like ground and pound, it's gonna help. But how do you think you'd hold up against an Israeli type? Well, take your throat out kind of fighter with your MMA. Is that a weird kind of?
That is kind of weird. That is kind of weird, but I never really thought of that. But I always refer to YouTube every single time whenever I go I hit YouTube and be like, all right, MMA fighter versus like Kung Fu or MMA fighter versus this, and like it usually ends up one way or another. But also too, like just to even throw like kind of like put myself back in the middle is that a lot of those guys were old, so.
Okay, but let's break it down. A Krav Maga your age, same height, same thing, same build. These guys fight to kill, right? They're not just fighting to tap you out. They're fighting to kill you. How would Adrian Yanez, or any MMA fighter hold up stylistically against a Krav Maga who's going for the throat, he's going for the kill. He's not out to play. He's not out to tap you out. He's out to actually take you out and defend his life, his family behind him. There's a different mindset because I've studied some of this stuff, and that's a style I want to get into. I wonder how that would play out. UFC fighter, MMA versus an actual trained fight to kill. Maybe if you took them down and held,
Yeah, because I think like, just take them down, and then like if they give it the back, they just put them in a rear naked choke.
That's it.
Put them in and it's just like, okay, then they go to sleep. You wake up. If they still want to fight, then you do it all over again. So it's like, I don't know.
If it gets your eyes, that's what I'm saying. If you're trying to take them down and they get to your eyes, your throat, your groin, or something, they strike you, then it could be trouble because they've now disabled you.
Yeah, it had to be weird. I don't know. It is a weird topic, but
it is. I've never thought of that because you guys are the toughest fighters on the planet, but these guys are out to to do some serious lethal damage.
Yeah, that's fair point. But
it'd be interesting.
At the end of the day, I'm just like, I'm always going to side that MMA fighter just kind of just runs them over. But
I wouldn't want to fight either. Let's put it that way. Okay, last thing here. I just want to wrap this up, but I just want to talk a little bit about UFC 1 versus UFC now. I'm a big fan of UFC 1 because I loved how you brought the sumo wrestler in with like a boxer. You got all these different styles. I would love to see a division in the UFC. It's called the I'm the Toughest Man on the Planet division, where I don't care if you're like 5'2" and 130. If you want to fight a 300-pound man and you think you can beat that man, or if a girl wants to beat a man, so be it. But it's just a free-for-all division. Doesn't matter the sex, doesn't matter the age. If you think you're the toughest person on the planet, you go for it. How cool would that? I mean, I know it sounds crazy, but would you want to see that just for entertainment purposes?
Man, entertainment purposes, I'd watch anything. Man, I'll watch Squid Games for Lord's sake, man. So but yet I would probably say I wouldn't, but at the end of the day, I still watch Bare Knuckle FC, so I'm like, so I definitely would probably watch it. I would probably be squinging whenever I see like whenever I'd see like the 5'2" guy fighting the like Francis Ngannou, they're like, this is not going to end well, but
it's called the biggest balls division. How about that? Imagine if Sean O'Malley says, hey, I'm the toughest man on the planet. I want to fight Ngannou right now. Bring it. And that fight were to happen, I would, oh man, the pay-per-view.
I would tune in for sure, but like
to watch Slaughterfest probably.
But the whole entire time you probably just see me like this, just like, oh my god, why am I watching this? And I'd be telling myself, why am I watching this? And then be like just continue to watch it, just like out of pure shock, I think.
I would be all for it. I think it'd be super entertaining. And I definitely pay to see that, but it might be a slaughter fest. But imagine the remark of, I'm going to end this here because it's hypothetical, but imagine if like O'Malley actually did end up knocking out a Adesanya or Ngannou or something like that. That would be unreal. Then that's whenever you start looking at everything a lot more differently. Like, oh wait, is the heavyweight the baddest man on the planet? No. Yeah, I would love to see that. And maybe, hey, I'm working to be the face of sports, and I'm doing some big things. Maybe I'll create something because the biggest balls division.
Oh yeah, I think that'd be amazing. If Tyson could do the Legends Only League, then 100%.
Oh man. So, Adrian, no, it's a pleasure to have you on, man. I really enjoyed the conversation, and I'd like to have you on again. And you don't want to forget about us people, the little people, once you rise up, because we were here from the beginning. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah, absolutely. No, I'd never want to forget.
So, no, I appreciate you coming on. I enjoyed the conversation, and I'm sure some of these clips will go viral, especially the biggest balls UFC division. All right, man. Well, I appreciate you.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me on.
Thanks for coming on. We'll talk soon.